Hey guys, in today's video we're going to take another look at persuasive writing with a look at persuasive essays. So persuasive essays are a really common assignment that you will see at SWU and other schools you go to, and you'll also see them on IELTS or other kinds of tests as well. So let's get you guys ready to go on what is an essay to prepare you for the essay in my class and hopefully any other essays that you have to write after my class as well. So what is an essay? Let's start there. So when I talk about an essay, when we use the word essay, we talk about a type of formal academic writing with at least 3 paragraphs. Usually the most common type will be 5 paragraphs for an essay. But for our class, we're doing 4. But there will be at least 3 sections. The first is an introduction. Then you will have at least 1 body paragraph. For our class, it will be 2. But another common one is 3. And then a conclusion. So those are the 3 parts: introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. And in a persuasive essay, which is a really common one that you guys will see, you're trying to convince the reader to agree with your opinion. So you guys have some debate topics, and you're going to try to convince me in your writing to agree with your opinion. And we talked in our last video about how we use persuasive writing in our careers, but it's really common in academics as well, and that's what we're going to practice. So when you write an essay, if you sit to write an essay for a test, if you sit to write an essay for a class assignment, or any other essays you guys come across, you want to use these same steps when you write. So do these. The first thing to do, the first thing before you do anything else, is write your thesis statement. And we'll talk about what that is, but your thesis statement is like the most important sentence of your entire essay. And so that's the first thing you want to write. Then after that, you outline your paragraphs. You plan what you will write for your entire essay. And then third, you use your outline to write your full paragraphs. So start with your thesis and then outline, always outline before you write, and then and only then do you go sit down and write your full paragraphs. So your thesis statement, writing your thesis statement. Remember, so the thesis statement is going to be it's going to be one complex sentence. It's one complex sentence that clearly states your opinion. And it's your opinion that you will argue for your whole essay. So the example I gave you was my opinion. I am writing an essay to convince the dean to start classes at 10 a.m. So I'm going to say classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. That's my opinion. And then you also want to say the reasons why in your thesis statement. So we use one complex sentence, that magic word that we've been using all semester, because, and now my 2 reasons why. Students will be healthier, that's my first reason, and they will get better grades. So that's my whole thesis statement. Classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. because students will be healthier and will get better grades. If you got a thesis statement just like that, you are off to an amazing start for your essay. So how do you go about writing a thesis statement? The first thing you need to do is to decide your opinion on the topic. Sometimes it will be given to you, sometimes you will get to choose, but the first thing you need to do is clearly decide and write what that will be. So mine is that classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. Then what you want to do is you want to brainstorm and think of as many reasons as you can to support this topic. So I'm going to go in on a piece of paper or on a Word document somewhere, and I am going to brainstorm as many reasons that I can why classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. And then finally, I will make a complex sentence. So I go in with my reasons and I write, and I think, one reason, students will be happier. They will be happier if classes start at 10 a.m. All right, students will be healthier. Students won't have traffic in the morning. Students will get better grades, right? So I take a look at these reasons. when you brainstorm, you want to come up with as many reasons as you possibly can. Good ones, bad ones, come up with as many as you can. And then you choose the best ones. The best ones are the ones that you think are most convincing and the ones that you think you can find good evidence for. So I go and I look and I say that I think the two that will be most convincing to a dean will be that students will be healthier and that students will get better grades. So for my my 4-paragraph essay with 2 body paragraphs, I want to choose 2 reasons. If you do a 5-paragraph essay, you need to choose 3 reasons. So always going through, making as many as you can, and picking those 2 best ones. So now finally, I make a complex sentence. And I start with my opinion on that topic. And then with my 2 reasons. So for you guys, your opinion, because, and why. So classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. because students will be healthier and they will get better grades. If you got that, if you do this, you are off to an incredible start to your essay. So that's the first thing you need to do. Now it's time to outline. Now that you have your thesis, now you want to plan how you will write an essay to support this thesis. So the first paragraph you want to outline is your introduction. And it is a paragraph that an introduction does 3 things. It introduces your general topic, and that introductory statement, it's called a hook, right? To hook in people's attention. Then you introduce the problem or the debate that you will talk about in your paper. And then, which we call this the transition. Sometimes you might hear this called a segue, which is just a fancy word meaning transition. And then the last sentence of your introduction is your position on the topic and why. And that's your thesis statement. Really important that you make sure your thesis statement is the last sentence of your introduction. And in your introduction, you aren't explaining your reasons. You're not making arguments, you're not including evidence yet. Save that for your body. Your introduction, you're just saying hi. You're just introducing your general topic, the debate, and your position. You're going from the most general, so the big general outside world with your general topic, and then slowly down into a transition about the problems, and then at the smallest point, the most specific, your position and why. If you do these things, you will have a fantastic introduction. So remember, we always outline before we write, and we want to have that first Roman numeral says what my paragraph does. This paragraph is my introduction. So then I have my capital letters that say what I need to do in each paragraph, right? So I need to make a hook, I need a transition, and then I need my thesis, which we already have. Remember step 1, we make our thesis, so we can fill that in right away. And we use these little letters for what we will actually write in our papers. They can be shorthand notes or they can be a whole sentence, but when you do your thesis, right, you have that all done. So my thesis there, classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. because students will be healthier and they will get better grades. Now I need to come up with a hook and a transition. So we want to think generally our most general topic. For you guys, this might be your debate question that you guys have. For my general topic, I'm going to take sleep. I could say maybe class start times, but so long as you have a more general topic, then that is what you want to talk about. And then your hook. It can be a general statement to catch attention, to introduce the topic. Don't overthink this. It can be really tempting to think about your hook. Hooks are important, but they are not the most important thing. They're not as important as your thesis. You just want to get started. So I'm just going to start here with a general statement about sleep, and I'm going to say sleep is the most important nutrient. I'm not going to explain why. This isn't a body paragraph. This is just my hook to capture their attention. And then now, here in my transition, the great way to do the transition for a debate topic like this is to summarize both sides of the debate in 1 or 2 sentences. So you don't want to really explain the other side or your side. We're not giving evidence or reasoning yet. You're just saying in one sentence what the side you disagree with believes and what you believe. So the other side, right? I think that classes should start at 10 a.m., but other folks, they say school usually starts early. Traditionally, school starts early to be just like the professional world. The reason you guys go to class early is because you will go to work early, and most of you guys will. And then now I introduce my side. Some researchers say that school should start class later, right? So now I have my hook that introduces the general topic, and then I have my 2 sides, and then my position and the reasons why. General to specific. That's how you have a fantastic introduction. Okay, so now moving on, we have our body paragraphs. In the last video, right, we went over my body paragraphs. I created my second body paragraph, and we know that that body paragraph needs to have 3 things. So I'm going to go over that really quickly with my second body paragraph to show you guys some things. But if you have any question, if anything you don't remember about making body paragraphs, go check out that other video. So remember, in my body paragraph, I need 3 things. I need a claim, I need evidence that supports my claim. So a claim is one clear sentence that says what I will talk about and why. My evidence that supports that claim, and then reasoning. This is the part, my own words, where I can use my evidence to convince them my claim is true. So with my claim, right, with the great thing about a thesis statement is you can take your thesis statement, make it a little more simple, and turn it into your claim. So my claim was that classes should start, my thesis was that classes should start at 10 a.m. because students will be healthier and they will get better grades. My first claim, if you remember from my first body paragraph, was that classes should start at 10 a.m. because students will be healthy. So now my second claim, classes should start at 10 a.m. because students will get better grades. The important thing is that each reason you gave in your thesis appears at that first sentence in each of your body paragraphs. So I had my first one about being healthier. Now I'm going to talk about getting better grades. Classes should start at 10 a.m. because students will get better grades. Then, right, we get evidence. I got some research. I found a Forbes article, and I paraphrased it. If you don't remember a paraphrase where you state what the author said in their own words, check out that other video. But my evidence says that students who get 8 hours of sleep every night are more likely to get A's, but students who get 7 hours of sleep every night are more likely to get C's, right? So 1 hour makes a big difference according to my evidence. So now I need to do reasoning. Remember, when I do reasoning, that first thing I do, I state my evidence in my own words. So just like I told you, I'm going to restate my evidence. In other words, 1 extra hour of sleep makes a big difference in students' grades, right? That's my key takeaway. That's what the evidence means in my own words. Then I use my forms for convincing. If this, then this. If we make sure students get extra sleep, we can do a lot to make them better in school, right? That's my evidence. And you can use 1 or 2 sentences to explain that. As many as you need, but 1 or 2 should usually be fine. And then I end it with therefore. Therefore, classes at SWOO should start at 10 a.m., it says 9 a.m., should say 10 a.m., to make sure students get the best grades that they can. Cool, and that's a body paragraph. Outline both of your body paragraphs, but you can see how important your thesis is to making your claims. Once you've got your thesis, it's a lot easier to make everything else. Okay, now you've got your thesis written, you've outlined your introduction, you've outlined your body paragraphs. Now it's time to outline your conclusion. And the conclusion is the opposite of an introduction. So in a paragraph, you do 3 things. You first restate your thesis, then you transition back to the general topic, and then by summarizing your body paragraphs, so you don't summarize the whole debate, you summarize your body paragraphs in one sentence, and then you end with your your general topic from your intro. So whatever your hook was that you used to get their attention, a really amazing ending sentence calls back to that same idea, and we'll look at that. So we call that a callback, right? A hook to capture their attention, and a callback where you remind them of how you got their attention. It's great. It's fantastic. So, right, we start there with that thesis, that most specific part. We transition by summarizing the points that we made. We don't want to add new information. No, we don't want to add new information. We're just right now summarizing in one sentence what we already said in our body paragraphs. And then finally, we have that callback to the general world. So outlining our conclusion looks something like this. It's my fourth paragraph for this essay, so I'm going to restate my thesis. I will transition, and then I will create a callback. And I have my sentences there. So, right, I have my thesis. Classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. because students will be healthier and they will get better grades. And you can just say your thesis again. That's okay. But it's not the best way. To really have an awesome conclusion, you want to take this sentence and you want to say it again in a different way. And so with a complex sentence, you guys know from English class, you can change the structure of that sentence pretty easily. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put my reasons first, and then I will put my conclusion there. And that's a fantastic way to do this. So I'm going to start with my reasons first when I restate my thesis. Because my second half is coming first. Because students will be healthier and they will get better grades. Classes at SWU should start at 10 a.m. Right? So now I just change the structure, and boom, now I have my restated thesis. And if you can do that, like if you can do that to your thesis, it looks really great. Writing teachers absolutely love it. That whole inverted structure, they really love it. So there I go, I write that, I restate my thesis there. Nice. And now I transition, and I need to summarize the key points from each of my body paragraphs in here to transition to close my paper. And one tip for doing that, there's a couple different ways you can do that, but one tip that I think is useful is that you can use those ideas from the "in other words" part of your body paragraph, where you restated your evidence and said what you took away from your evidence. You can use that, use those ideas, if not the whole sentence, and use that here in your transition to summarize each of those body paragraphs. So I'm going to use that here. So I say students need to wake up at 8 a.m. to get enough sleep, and 1 extra hour of sleep makes a big difference in students' grades. So I don't use the word "in other words," but I use those ideas to transition. It doesn't have to be the same sentence. It shouldn't be, but in easy time, it works. If it's the same sentence, it should be okay usually. And then now you need to do a callback. And so callback, again, just like your hook, don't think too much about this. It can be really, especially late at night when you're working on an essay or when you're time crunched for a test. You can spend a lot of time getting stuck on your callback and your hook. But but this is extra fluff. Your most important parts of your thesis and your body paragraphs. So when you do your callback, so if you can mention what you originally said in some way, then that is a fantastic callback. English teachers will be super proud of you. So here I say, this way or so, students will get their most important nutrient to live their best lives. Remember, I started with sleep as the most important nutrient. I now mention that again in my final sentence. And if you're able to do that, your writing teachers will love you. So don't think too much about it, especially when on our conclusion, when we're tired and we're rushed. Because now we need to write our papers. So now you've got your outline done. You wrote your thesis. You outlined your introduction, your body paragraphs, whether it's 2 body paragraphs like for my assignment or 3 body paragraphs. You outline each of those, claim evidence and reasoning with citations, outlined your conclusion. You went from general to specific in your introduction, went from specific to general in your conclusion. Now you just need to take that information and write it into full paragraphs. Now, when you use your outline, if you did a good job, if you really spend a lot of time on your outline, you've already finished most of the work. You already created all the ideas. You know exactly what you're going to say. Now writing is a lot easier. So spend a lot of time on your outlines, and that makes your job a lot easier when you do your essays. Now you don't have to worry about creating new ideas. Now you can just focus on your language. You can focus on your vocabulary, focus on your grammar, focus on your tone, making sure you have professional tone, language for careers, not language for text messages to friends, right? Now that you got everything planned, everything ready to go, all of your ideas ready, now you're just creating the sentences and can really focus on just your language. So that's another reason why it's really important to outline first. And so, right, so the thing is, if you always make sure, if you can do these things when you write your essays, I know essays can be this really stressful thing in college, especially when you have to do it on time tests. But if you can make sure that you have a really clear, strong thesis statement, you clearly state your opinion and your reasons why, and use that thesis to start each body paragraph with a clear claim. If you can do that already, even if you just do that, wow, like you're off to a really good start. Really, really solid start. And if you can outline your paragraphs, go from general to specific in your introduction, specific to general in your conclusion, and you really make sure you have evidence and restate your evidence in your own words and do that reasoning, outline that, and then do that before you write your essay. You can make sure that you guys will get at least a minimum, a passing grade on every essay you write. Organization is that most important thing. And even if your grammar isn't perfect, even if you make a few mistakes when you're actually writing your essay now, you're going to make sure that your essay will look beautiful. So you really can do that. It works. So, and also more importantly, you will also develop excellent writing habits for your careers. If you spend the next 4 years doing this kind of process for your essays, you will automatically become great writers and use that great writing in your careers. So it takes practice. Keep practicing it. This first assignment, I'm giving it to you guys to practice because I want you guys to develop these habits. So keep this up. Watch this video again and again and again to remind you guys of how to do this for persuasive essays. But yeah, if you can do that, you will have excellent writing habits for your careers. Okay, so those are some clear steps for making sure that you guys write essays. These are the steps that I used when I had to write timed essays from high school all the way through college, or staying up late at night writing essays, which I had to do a lot. But if you can use those steps, you're going to make sure that you guys are always going to get a really good grade. And this stressful thing that's essays can become a lot more simple. So that's all for this video. Good luck on your assignments. I will see ya.